There was once a woman named Patricia, but everyone called her Patty. Now, Patty wasn't just anyone. She was the kind of woman who lived in a mansion that looked like a palace, drove cars that cost more than most people's houses, and had enough money to buy anything she could ever want. Patty had a son named Jack, and Jack was a billionaire. But despite their wealth, Patty was not your typical serious high society woman. She loved to have fun, and sometimes she liked to play little tricks on people to see how they would react. One day, Patty decided it was time to test Jack's girlfriend, Sarah. Patty had all kinds of stories about how kind Sarah was and how she always seemed to care about others. But Patty, being a bit mischievous, didn't trust appearances alone. She wanted to see how far Sarah's kindness really went. So Patty came up with a plan, a test. Let's see if she's as nice as everyone says. Patty muttered to herself one morning, I'll need to be a little creative. Patty decided that the best way to test Sarah was to pretend to be homeless. Patty chuckled to herself as they began to put her plan into action. The next day, they put an old tattered cloth, smeared some dirt on her face, and wore the biggest, most ridiculous pair of sunglasses. She also stuffed a fake bag with some old crumpled clothes to make it look like she was carrying her whole life in there. Patty then went to a park near Jack's house, where she knew Sarah liked to walk. Patty sat on a bench holding a cup in her hand. She looked exactly like someone who had been through hard times. She smiled to herself, knowing that this was going to be fun. Not long after, Sarah walked by, holding a coffee cup and chatting on the phone. When she noticed the homeless woman sitting on the bench, she stopped in her tracks. Her eyes widened and she looked nervously from side to side. Patty, of course, noticed Sarah and was already preparing to test her. Sarah quickly ended her phone call and started to walk over to Patty. Oh, excuse me, Sarah said, glancing down at her shoes, trying not to make eye contact. Are you okay? Patty, in her best homeless impersonation, looked up with wide eyes, pretending to be confused. Oh, I don't know, I'm just so lost in life, she said dramatically, clutching her bag to her chest. I haven't had a meal in days, and this world is just so cold. Sarah's face immediately softened. Oh my gosh, that's terrible, she said, pulling out her phone. Let me call someone to help you. But Patty wasn't done with her test yet. She grinned to herself, knowing she had to push things just a little further. She quickly pretended to spill her water bottle on the ground. Oh no, my water is gone, she gasped, looking up at Sarah with a mixture of panic and pretend desperation. Could you please help me get some water? I'm so thirsty. Sarah, clearly taken aback, but still trying to help, bent down and handed Patty a few dollars. Yeah, you can use this to buy some food or drink. I'll call a shelter for you, she said kindly. Patty, feeling the test was almost too easy, took the money and smiled warmly. Then just as Sarah was about to turn and walk away, Patty made her move. Wait, I think I might need just one more thing, she said, her voice sounding a little too sweet. Could you spare some water? Maybe just a little. Oh, I already gave you the money for that, Sarah replied, looking a little confused. Patty, however, was in no mood to let Sarah off the hook. In one swift motion, she grabbed her water bottle from her bag and splashed it all over Sarah's shoes. It wasn't much, but it was enough to leave Sarah blinking in surprise, with water dripping from her new shoes. Oops, Patty said, pretending to be shocked. I'm so sorry, I just couldn't help myself. Sarah stood there, completely speechless. She stared at her wet shoes, then at Patty, then back down at her shoes again. This was not how she expected her morning to go. Patty, still holding back laughter, tried to look serious. Well, I did ask for water, she said, as though it made perfect sense. Now Sarah had two options. She could laugh and say it was okay, or she could get upset. Most people would just brush off a little water. But Sarah didn't laugh. She stood there looking utterly frustrated. You really just did that on purpose, didn't you? She said, crossing her arms. Patty tilted her head, looking innocent. Me? No, not at all, she said with mock surprise. I mean, I just wanted a little water and now look, I've caused all this drama. I hope I didn't ruin your day too much. At that moment, Sarah's face softened, and a tiny smile crept onto her lips. Alright, I get it. You were testing me, right? Patty burst out laughing. I knew you'd figure it out. I just wanted to see if you'd be kind. Sarah shook her head, laughing along with Patty. You are one sneaky lady, but alright, you passed the test, I guess. The next day, Patty called Jack, her son, with a much lighter heart. Jack, darling, I think I made a small mistake yesterday, she said, almost shyly. Jack, who had been suspicious of his mom's antics for a while, immediately raised an eyebrow. What do you mean, Mom? Did you prank someone again? Patty hesitated, then sighed. Yes, I did, but this time I think it's gone too far. I wanted to test Sarah, but I may have gone overboard. Jack chuckled, knowing his mother all too well. Mom, you are always testing people. Why do you do that? Patty paused. I don't know, maybe I just want to see if people are really genuine with their kindness, or if they are just being polite, because it's the right thing to do. She still let out a soft laugh. That Sarah is a keeper. I've never met anyone who could take such a ridiculous test and still smile about it. She didn't get angry. She didn't storm off. She just accepted it, and that's something rare. Jack. Jack paused for a moment, sensing that his mother was being unusually sincere. So you are saying you like her now? Patty's voice softened. I think I respect her a lot. Jack smiled, relieved. Well, that's progress. Maybe it's time to let Sarah know that she's passed your crazy test. Patty thought about it for a second. You know what, darling? I think I will make it up to her somehow. The next weekend, Patty invited Sarah over to the mansion for dinner. Sarah, still not entirely sure whether Patty was pulling another prank, was hesitant at first, but she couldn't say no to Jack, and besides, she did enjoy spending time with him. As Sarah sat down, she noticed that Patty had prepared an extravagant meal. It seemed like a far cry from the homeless woman she had met in the park. Thank you for inviting me, Sarah said cautiously. I'm sure this isn't your usual dinner. You are not going to prank me with smashed tomatoes in my shoes, are you? Laughed, her eyes twinkling. I think we've had enough of that, don't you? No, tonight I'm just here to apologize and to thank you. Apologize? Sarah raised an eyebrow. Patty sighed and leaned forward. Yes, I've been playing this little game for a while, testing people, trying to see if they are real, but I think I overdid it. You passed my test, but it wasn't fair of me to put you through it in the first place. Sarah blinked in surprise, then smiled. Well, it was certainly unexpected, but I'm glad I passed, I think. Mom's right, you know, you're amazing and I'm lucky to have you in my life, Jack said, his voice full of sincerity. Sarah went on and they laughed, talked and enjoyed the meal together. Patty, who had once thought of Sarah as just another girlfriend, began to see her in a new light. She wasn't just Jack's partner. She was someone who could handle anything that came her way with grace, and that was something Patty admired deeply.